equipment packs. This may come up occasionally. I don't know if this is useful to you guys or not, but essentially I'm going to show you how to create an equipment pack, which is going to be an item in your that you can make and drag to your inventory, and basically it's going to consist of different items. So there are some steps involved and some considerations when you're making these. A lot of it has to do with time and your familiarity with the rule set and the Fantasy Grounds platform. So without further ado, let's take a look at this. So you can make unique items in Fantasy Grounds once you understand how the items work. And I have a description in the video, and it will have a link to the 5e guide for equipment for the Atlassian guide. So it kind of goes into the different types of content that you can build. So this would be custom items that are not normally a part of the player's handbook or the SRD. One of my tips would be to try to stay with the SRD as much as you can. I know that's not possible to make everything that way, but it helps a lot cut down the time when you are trying to create these packs. So the way I look at this is like some class builds and certain race maybe builds or whatever, or certain settings might offer you a class pack. So this might be helpful if you're doing homebrew or perhaps your own custom world or something like that. So Fantasy Grounds already has packs built in based on backgrounds and that sort of thing. But what I wanted to do is just kind of offer you just an idea of how this works. So this Vampire Hunter pack that I have here is actually a custom item. So this is something I created by hand, and I just gave it a non-ID name that says a leather satchel with various pockets. You know, it's pretty basic. The key in here to get this equipment pack is to type in the subtype equipment pack. So that's the important part here. That triggers this data to open up this individual items area. And then, of course, you put in your other things like your rarities, cost, weight, all that stuff. So this thing consists of a backpack, a silver dagger, a braid of garlic, a hammer, holy symbol, holy water, a journal kit, which is like a quill, you know, book and such, a mirrored compact, a pouch, and 5 stakes. So this is kind of like a Vampire Hunter kit. I just use this as an example. You can make, you know, however you want. The problem with doing this is, or the challenge I should say, is that you're going to end up building a lot of custom content. So try, like I was saying earlier, try to keep that down as much as possible. So I had to make like 6 different items to do this, and only like 3 or 4 items out of this entire kit is SRD. So just kind of keep that in mind. So this took me about 10 minutes to come up with this. And if you use generative AI tools, it'll help you speed up that process a little bit. But essentially, this is all custom stuff that I had made. And then I have my own group called Custom Items. And then in the items area, I also have custom packs. So this is the Vampire Hunter pack. Maybe the next one I'll make a ninja pack or something like that. But essentially, it's just a collection of items. And the way to get those to sprout or to, you know, to give you this dialogue so you can drag items into here is to make sure you include this word or keyword equipment packs. And like I said, I put a description in the video, but this is the Atlassian guide that kind of shows you what this stuff is and how it works. So here they're typing in the type. And then on the, I would put packs up there, and then the subtype is going to be equipment packs. And then when you goes into the properties and that sort of thing, the subtype, it says the various subtypes are simple, melee, martial, that sort of thing. If you're going to have like a weapon, and then you have the rarity. And then when you're doing different types of items, it changes the fields in the equipment area. So there's armor, there's the equipment area where you can do the equipment pack. So you can enter it by putting it in the type field. It opens up a section at the bottom of the window in which each item in the pack can be created or dragged from another source, such as the player's handbook. If you're going to use this for your personal use, it probably doesn't matter where you grab the links from. However, if it's going to be a commercial product, you might have to stick with the SRD, or at least check to make sure none of the items are copyright. And then this will show you how to do this. So here it says equipment packs, so that will help. And this is just basically to give you the resources that you would need to create an item such as this. So this is a helpful thing, probably in a long-term type thing. So in the short term, it's a little bit of work up front. So the biggest thing is to test it also. So like when you're done with it, you can lock the item up and grab a character. And remember, this is for the 5e rule set. I don't think or know if this works for other rule sets, but for a Vampire Hunter pack, I'm going to drag and drop this in their inventory, and all the items are nested in there, and it's ready to go. So when you're building characters, this would be helpful for that. The other thing you can do alternatively is, if you don't want to do this, you can kind of do something similar, but you're still going to be stuck building the items. So regardless of how you want to handle this, you're still going to be building custom items if you make custom packs. So this has all the items in a parcel format, and it has a -50 here for gold, because that's the overall cost. So if, let's just say I had 111 gold in my inventory, I'm going to go ahead and delete this stuff here just so you can see the difference here. So it kind of does the same thing, a similar purpose, except for this parcel could be used like in a store. So if you made this available for players to interact with, such as shared links that are, you turn them green on a image, or you share the parcel with them, like dragging it to their character sheet, however you want to do it. But this thing here is a hunter pack parcel. So if I drag this entire pack here, it's not only going to populate all of this stuff, but it's also going to minus out the 50 gold. So if you want it to kind of keep track of gold and stuff, you can kind of do something like that. So if you drag and drop this in there, now he's left with 61 gold, and then all the stuff's in there. So it kind of works the same way. So one is more like a character creation item, and then this one you could kind of set that up as a store item. So the store would deduct whatever the value is of the item that you're selling. So it doesn't have to be this pack, it can be anything. But just keep in mind that when you're building custom items, it is very time consuming, especially if you have art and everything else attached to it. It can take a long time. So the steps are: you prepare all your items first, you make a list of all the stuff you want. You add the items into Fantasy Grounds individually, and you want to use these groups to kind of separate it out from the rest of your data. And then you would basically, in the subtype or the type, you would type equipment packs to categorize your item correctly. That way it will go into one cohesive list. And then for investing time in creating detailed custom item packs up front, it can save some time in the character creation process later. So that'll streamline your prep and your game time later. But the upfront cost is quite a bit. The innovation of it is that you can also, like I said, create this parcel and kind of use it in a kind of an indirect way to negate or deduct gold from the player's inventory automatically. So it kind of simulate a store-like transaction. Now, it doesn't prevent your gold from going negative, but it definitely helps if you're going to set up an interactive store. The players can just drag these to their sheets and it automatically deducts the gold. What I usually say is, if it goes over like 50 gold, they owe the store some money or something like that. I don't worry too much about it going negative. I mean, if it's negative, it's negative, right? They're not buying anything. And I also made a rule that if they don't pay their debt, like if they owe the store something, then they can't buy it or trade there. Innovation of usage is basically the dragging the parcel onto the sheet. So it kind of works like a pack. And then you want to test your pack like we're doing now. So that's dragging the item and making sure that it populates the character sheet properly. And once you're tested and it's ready, you can basically share it as a module. So if you build a whole bunch of these, create like just an adventure or a module just for this, and then you can load this up with any of your games and use it later. So you're not confined to just this campaign, and use this as your work campaign and just put it in your other games. So that's the other thing. And then you can look into potentially, maybe you can put it on the Forge. I don't know. But as long as I think if it's SRD and it's not, Wizards of the Coast proprietary content, you might be able to get away with that. But I was thinking that this would be helpful if you wanted to make some custom kits for your own world, or perhaps you got a big project and it's a custom world or something. That might be helpful for that. But this is just kind of a time saver in the back end. So if a lot of the work in Fantasy Grounds, you have to do it up front. But once you do it, it's beautiful. You just drag the stuff over and it's done. It's just getting to that point is the challenge. It's very time consuming, especially if you have to build all these assets from scratch. A lot of times you can take, like this, for instance, the silver dagger. There's probably one in like the Curse of Strahd module or one of the other horror based ones, but I went ahead and made my own. But then I also added the properties to it, for the weapon. So when you add this to their sheet, like for instance, this is a silver dagger. That's the item on the sheet. And then in the actions tab, it's set up correctly here. And then when you open this up, it should have the silver tag on this. That's what you want. So when you're dealing damage to like a werewolf or some lycanthrope, that should show that silver. So you have to make sure that property's in there. I'm not sure why it wasn't added, but maybe I didn't put it in properly. Maybe it's supposed to be silvered. I don't remember. But essentially you can unlock this and you can change the properties on it. But anyway, so that's just a quick thing I wanted to show you guys. It's not a very well documented thing. I mean, there's a couple spots in the Atlassian that discuss this. I guess it is well documented, but maybe it's not well used. So a lot of people just rely on the content that already comes with the rule set. So when you're building your own rule set, maybe this would be more helpful, because a lot of times the classes and the races and all that, the backgrounds already have their own. So you don't have to normally go through this. But if you want custom stuff like I made for this Vampire Hunter pack, then you're going to have to put in the effort. So anyways, folks, hopefully that's helpful. Like I said, the resources will be at the end of the video in the links below, and I hope this is helpful to you.